Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on marketing management, and in this very series of our lectures on marketing we have been talking about rural marketing, to be very specific, and this is going to be part 3 of our lectures on the topic of rural marketing. We had already discussed in detail about what exactly we mean by rural marketing, what are the different strategies which marketers are supposed to resort to when they are entering into the rural market, what kind of market potential we have. The magnitude of market potential have also been discussed in detail when we were talking about the Indian rural market, its opportunities, the kind of differences we are able to find. Rather, I would say the traits of Indian rural market we have discussed in detail, and the extent of employment opportunity which it offers is actually matchless. So, in the the previous segment of my lectures, I told you about the rural marketing mix, and there we discussed about the product and price, to be very specific, that what kind of changes we are supposed to incorporate when it comes to deciding your product or offering your product for rural markets, or what should be your pricing strategy when you are entering into the rural market. Now, we will be talking about the remaining two P's, that is place and distribution, and after that we will talk about the 4 A's of rural marketing. What are the key strategies? How does this rural marketing differs from the urban marketing, and what is there into the Indian perspective, the recent Indian examples I will be presenting before you, and then we will talk about urban customer, what kind of customers they are and what challenges they are posing in front of marketers when they are entering into a market which is completely rural, but at times they are witnessing or they are encountering a customer who is having a combination of both, that is rural and urban, to whom we call as urban customers. So, just to give a recapitulation of rural marketing mix, let me tell you what was there into the product and product strategies, where we were talking about the small unit and low priced packing. We have been talking about the new product design and sturdy products. Having said sturdy products, we mean to indicate towards the durable products, the products which are very solid in making, or those which are very durable in usage. They are called as sturdy products, because in rural markets you would find the customers that they are, whenever it comes to durable products, they always try to find a product which is very solid or which is having a longer duration as compared to the other products, and of course the brand name was there in terms of strategy. So, these were some important points which we had already discussed in the previous lecture of mine. I am just giving you a recapitulation that we talked about the small unit and low priced packaging, we talked about new product design, we talked about sturdy products, and brand name of course was there. But when it came to pricing strategy in rural market, they are always the customers are very much price sensitive. So, they always look for the products at a comparative lower cost, or what they call as the reasonable cost. So, they want the products at a lower or a cheaper price as compared to what they are offering in the urban markets. They do not need any sophisticated packaging or packing. They want the packaging to be used for the protection of the product only, otherwise they avoid sophisticated packaging. Refill packs and reusable packaging is something which is very much in, and customers are always looking for the packages which can be reused, because they are actually looking for the multiple usage of those packages which are being provided to them, and of course there is an application of value engineering. So, having discussed these two significant domains of marketing mix in rural segment, now it is time for us to discuss about the distribution decisions which a rural marketer is going to take. So, the next very important thing for marketers to understand is to where from and how do the rural consumers buy their goods and services, because it is the most significant challenge for them, because unless we know that the way rural customers are searching for a product, from where they are buying, what is the timing of their purchase, and how do they buy their goods, unless we know their entire decision making process, we cannot make a decision with regard to our distribution channels. So, we have to actually make ourselves available at the place where these customers want. We cannot decide that we will be offering our products in a particular outlet and customers are bound to come there. No, So we'll have to find that where from and how do these rural customers are buying their goods and services. So if we look at the market trends or the researches which are there, they indicate that rural consumers go to their nearest cities, or I would call it to be the suburban areas, to buy their products. For instance, if they have to buy durables, for instance tractors or televisions or any other consumer durable, they actually move towards the nearest cities or the nearest suburban areas where the stores and outlets are available. But of course we have to keep this thing in mind that they won't travel much, even when it comes to the durability of the product, that they have to buy the high involvement goods. So they will be spending a lot of time and resources to reach to those places. They always try to search for a place which is closer to them. So for durable, this is a strategy. So marketers have to keep this thing in mind, that when I am dealing with the durable products, my strategy would be different as compared to what the FMCG companies are resorting to. So we have to understand that the closest city for that rural area where we are offering, we must have our own outlets. So in a cluster of for a cluster of villages, you must have at least one outlet or two outlets, or you should ensure that the distributors are available. Otherwise there can be a loss of customer, there can be a loss of business in those particular segments. So for durable products, it is very much sure that they always look towards the nearest cities for buying their products. But as far as the daily household or fast moving consumer goods are concerned, for instance, if they have to buy tea, sugar, soap, detergent powder or any other fast moving consumer goods, of course they would go to the local markets near their villages, or even within the villages they are actually buying such products. So marketers dealing with fast moving consumer goods or even white goods, they have to ensure that they should make themselves available in at least in an area which is closer to these villages, because we have already discussed that India is a country of villages, where we have more than 6,50,000 villages still. Although as per the previous census it was 6,75,000, but owing to this thanks to the urbanization, that now the number of villages have been reduced to 6,50,000, but still the size is very big, and it's a sizable population which is still living in the rural areas. So we have to understand that there is no fixed time and schedule for their purchases, unlike their urban counterparts. So rural market you would always find that there is no specific timing of buying. They are not like 9 to 5 serving class people, that they will be leaving their office by 5 p.m. and after that the footfall will increase. No. So there is no such fixed time as compared to their urban counterparts, where some timings are fixed. But in case of rural areas, there is no time schedule fixed for their purchases. So we have to understand that customers can go at any time. Of course they won't be visiting late in the evening, unlike their urban counterpart, where the malls are open till 10 p.m. in the night, or even 11, or even after that. So now we are thinking of in metropolitan cities, we are thinking of having a store which is 24/7, and they are operating very well. So in rural areas, of course that is not the scenario, but yes, in daytime also there is no such fixed time and schedule for their purchases, as compared to their urban counterparts, where there is you can find a trend, you can plot a trend that in this way they are at this point of time they would be buying. So they are actually buying these goods as and when they are required for and not necessarily on a regular basis. So they are actually going for the requirement based purchases. As and when they need, they are actually making their purchases. So we have to understand as a marketer that they have to decide whether they can afford to make availability of their products in local markets, or to have a retailer in each village. So we have to decide that in what manner we are going to make ourselves available, and that affordability is something which we have to look for. We have to actually work on that whether we can make ourselves available, or our products available in local markets also, in those shandies or local markets, what we call. So whether we are ready for that, or we have to search for a retailer in each village. So that is all a choice, or you can say which comes in front of us after a careful analysis of cost and benefit. But what is a common strategy? A common retailer can be promoted in each village. You can have a strategy of having a common retailer in each village who can stock all types of goods in their shop. So it's better to go for, of course, the channel of distribution which is already available. Why to, in place of having our own store, we can have the indirect channel wherein we are actually taking the services of retailers. The retailers who are actually offering the products of other companies, they can also stock the products of a marketer who is willing to enter into these villages. So of course we can very easily point out that in the Indian rural market, as far as this distribution strategy is concerned, it is supposed to be based on the indirect channels. You cannot go for having a direct marketing, because it will not only need lot of resources but also the time and cost. So the resources are there. You have to have number of people who are going to enter into these villages. You cannot talk one to one. So it's better to have a decentralized strategy of distributing the products, and we have to understand that their timings are not fixed. There is no such schedule, unlike their urban counterpart, that at this point of time the customers will buy, or at this point of time the demand will increase. We cannot have that kind of anticipation. Although it, at the time of the cultivation of crop, that at times that happens, that the demand in rural market also goes up. But that cannot be set as a common trend, because at times they are already under the burden of debt, because they had already spent some money in advance. So when they are selling their crops, whatever amount they are getting, first at the first very instance they are going to pay off their debts which they have already taken. So my dear learners, we have to understand that in Indian rural market, the way we are entering into the urban market, we cannot follow the same in the rural market. We have to understand the sentiment and the behavior of rural customers, and accordingly we have to plan our strategies. Now coming to the promotion decision, how to communicate about our products in rural areas. So we have to understand that buying behavior and pattern of rural consumers is highly influenced by their communities. The communities, or the social belongingness, or the social group in which they are living, their influence is very high. So we have to understand that the word of mouth publicity or word of mouth promotion can prove to be really workable and useful, because it works a lot, and it works very effectively, and within no time it actually spreads. So word of mouth publicity, word of mouth promotion can be a better choice as compared to any other way of promoting your product. So marketers need to identify that who are the influential people in the village, where to approach and how to approach and to whom to approach. So that is something, once you have decided that, your promotion is going to be a super hit. So marketers need to identify the influential people in the villages and convince them about their goods and services. Once they are convinced, then of course there is a trickle down impact, and it it spreads like a wildfire, and everyone comes to know about the product which is being offered by a specific marketer. So promotion through radio, of course, when it comes to the entertainment mode, nowadays the television has also become the most popular mode of entertainment even in the rural areas. But still the promotion through radio can also prove to be useful, because still the majority of the people in villages, they are using radio for news and other entertainment programs. But we cannot deny to the relevance of television advertisement, that is also there. But yes, the radio is still supposed to be the popular one. So we cannot afford to leave this radio as a mode of communication. So that advertisement is also very significant. And of course, as I told you, that television advertising is also catching up the market in rural India, because it is also being very popular these days, and therefore can be used for the purpose of promotional campaign or advertisement. So we can say that a few promotion strategies specific to the rural marketing have also been suggested by different researches which are being conducted in the marketing. For instance, it is said that promotion should be client and location specific. If you are going for a particular region, of course, you would find the presence of regional advertisements as far as the Indian rural market is concerned. If you are going to the eastern part, or even in the northern part, then of course your advertising strategy is supposed to be different. So you can't have the same strategy or the same advertisement in north and south, northern and southern villages of India. You have to understand that the promotion should always be client and location specific. Depending upon that, you should go for crafting and implementing your promotional strategies. You cannot have the same advertisement for the entire nation. So this is something which we have to keep in our mind. Several related items should be bundled. You can go for bundling the utilities, and they can be sold out to rural consumers along with after sale services. So you can bundle the utilities. You can we call it the bundling of the products. So that can also be a way of promoting a product, that under the umbrella advertising you can advertise a particular brand, and then you can bundle the different products under that. You can provide credit facility to the rural consumers. It can also be extremely helpful, because it is something, this is the biggest hurdle which rural customers are having till date. And the marketers, even they are also talking about the 0% finance facility or zero finance facility, where there is no interest being charged from the customers, and that is also catching up in the rural areas. So we have to understand that we are supposed to combine both the traditional and modern media for the purpose of promoting the products in Indian rural markets. So apart from what we are doing in for the entire nation, of course for villages with some minor changes, we can come up with a strategy which is customized in nature, which is actually keeping in mind the specific requirement of rural customers. For instance, credit facility is something which they need. Providing advertisement in regional languages, that is something with which they are feeling connected, or adding or promoting the products in the festivals, the local festivals or the regional festivals, or you can say the fairs which are being organized in the rural areas. There also you can promote your products. You can have your own stalls as a marketer, and you can spread the word about your product or services. So this word of mouth publicity is still a big hit in the rural Indian rural market, and with that you can definitely succeed. So my dear learners, in this way we talked about the 4 P's, the way we have to formulate and implement in the rural market. So now we have to talk about the 4 A's of rural marketing. What are 4 A's of rural marketing? That is always being discussed, and that is always they are in the limelight. What exactly we mean by the 4 A's of rural marketing? So rural markets are actually luring many companies across different sectors for maintaining their momentum of growth, and they are trying to tap the what you can call as a relatively untapped market, because they are finding a huge potential in the rural market. They are finding the huge population living in the rural areas. So they can't ignore, they can't afford to ignore this significant part of our population. So they have to actually look for tapping this untapped market, what they call as relatively untapped market. So we all know that rural customers are different from their urban counterparts in many ways. So the companies have to use different marketing strategies, keeping in mind what are the specific characteristics or traits of rural customers. So they are actually termed as 4 A's of rural marketing, which refers to both the challenges. They are also telling us about the challenges of rural marketings, and also the key decision areas. You can call them as KDAs or KRAs, that is key result areas. If you work on these areas, then of course you can find the results in the rural market. So if I have to define this acronym of 4 A's, I would say that first A stands for affordability, second A stands for availability, third A stands for awareness, and fourth A stands for acceptability. So starting from affordability to availability, awareness and acceptability, these 4 A's are very much significant for the Indian rural market. When we talk about affordability, it actually refers to the purchasing power of rural customers. You cannot offer a product which they cannot afford. If you are offering a product which rural customers are not able to afford, what is the point of promoting that kind of product in the rural market? So we have to keep this thing in mind, that whatever we are going to float or position in the rural market, whether the customers have the paying capacity or not, whether they have the purchasing power of or the not purchasing power or not. So the purchasing power of rural customers and their ability to pay for a particular product or service, defines the term affordability. Most rural customers, if you look at the different studies or even the buying patterns in the Indian rural market, you would find that they have low disposable income. Hence, you have to understand as a marketer that you are supposed to consider the revision of prices, or even if you are not able able to customize, you are not able to reduce the price because of your quality concerns, then of course you can think of providing the products in smaller quantities, in sachets or in small packs. You can provide the same product to the rural customers so that they can also have a feel of the best quality which you are offering. So it is not always viable to reduce the price, as I told you. So companies are nowadays coming up with different strategies to meet this kind of challenge. They are offering their products in smaller quantities or smaller packs so that it can suit the pocket of the rural consumers. And I gave you several examples for this affordability issue when we were talking about the product strategy, how to plan our product or how to go for pricing, making a pricing strategy. So the affordability is the most significant concern in Indian rural market, or even in any rural market across the globe. I would say that we have to always keep in mind the affordability concerns, whether the products which you are floating in the market, they are affordable, the customers can afford it or not. The second most important concern is availability, that if customers are able to buy those products, they have disposable income also, but are we able to provide the product, are we able to make those products available in the market? So the second such key decision area of rural marketing is providing or is making those products and services available in the Indian rural market. That is the biggest challenge, that whether I am able to make those products available to my rural customers or not. So how to ensure it? If you are really willing to ensure the availability of goods and services to the consumers, as a marketer you have to provide the necessary transportation facilities, or you can say you have to ensure the adequate supply chain management facilities. So now what companies are doing, they are actually adopting various other creative ways. For instance, they are ensuring the delivery of their goods and services by the way of pooling the facilities, pooling the transportation facilities. Some marketers are doing direct selling, they are using their own delivery vans or setting up temporary stalls in the villages. So these are the ways they are actually resorting to. Some companies are using auto rickshaws or bullock carts or boats, etc., for providing their products and services in the rural area. The third important thing is awareness. The next challenge is that you have to make yourself your customers aware, and for that of course you have to communicate them. For that they are actually using radio advertising or mass media, they are using the word of mouth publicity, so that customers are increasingly being made aware of the products. And here comes the role of different events in rural areas. For instance, fairs and festivals, those hearts or shandies, they are used to communicate about the brand awareness, and the companies are actually using them very effectively and efficiently. And the last one is acceptability. So the fourth A of rural marketing is acceptability of the products by rural customers. So they should accept it, and for that what as a marketer what I can do. So if I really wish that the products to be acceptable by the rural customers, it is very much important for me to understand that whether they are able to meet their requirements or not. So we have to understand for what purpose they are needing that product. So they have to customize the products according to the requirement of the customers, and in that way they can we can talk about the Sampoorna TV by LG Electronic and Chota Cool refrigerator by Godrej. They are actually the most suitable example, and there are a number of examples. Companies are actually customizing their products as per the rural requirements. So with this, my dear learners, I tried to explain you about the 4 P's and 4 A's of Indian rural market. The remaining aspect I will be discussing in the next segment of my lectures on the topic. Thank you so much.